Children of the night, what music they make.
They're all gonna laugh at you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What's up?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash you a bit.
Trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. Happy Halloween, everybody, and welcome to Final Guys. I'm world champion Red Sox fan Jack Campisi, and I'm here with my co-hosts Hunter Shea and Jason Brant.
Happy Halloween!
I was wondering what you were going to say as soon as this started.
Let me just
Congrats.
a little bit here. And
This is 3 weeks in a row of Red Sox intermingling with the podcast. I think it's perfect.
It's Red Sox, guys.
Fitting ending. Thank you for beating the Dodgers.
So Friday night's game went 18 innings. I stayed up till 3-something in the morning, and then I had to get up early to go to Chiller Theater. And as Hunter will tell you, I was like the biggest zombie in the place.
You really were. I told him he was not Chiller Jack.
I was just chill.
He was just chilling Jack.
That's Netflix and chill.
Yeah, how was that whole shindig?
That's all right.
I had a lot of fun. I was the last one standing with my daughter because both of us were pretty much too drunk to drive. And then there was a legitimate gas leak and a bomb scare. So we evacuated. We hung out with Carmen Electra and Coco, Ice-T's wife, for a little bit. And then I said, we're not getting back in here. And we left.
You hung out with Carmen Electra.
Yeah, because everyone had to get evacuated. We were all one at that moment. There was no table separating us. We were just people who were terrified in a nor'easter, mind you.
Her was there, and every time I walked by her table, her and I made eye contact with me, clearly just like giving her the "I want to take you out back" and thank you for
Jack, I fucking her. She's
I'll tell you
very
what,
pretty.
the prettiest celebrity there, I think, was Kelly Hu.
Oh, Kelly Hu is so pretty.
Who's Kelly Who?
She was Lady Deathstrike in X2.
Oh, yeah.
She's Asian. She's not from Whoville. It's a H-U Who.
All right.
So-
yeah, I wish I could have gone up, but when I saw it was like 3+ hours. Like,
Yeah.
Pauly Shore is the new Jamie Kennedy.
Oh, Pauly Shore looked like roadkill. Every time I went by his table, I was like, hey, buddy.
Gavin McLeod from The Love Boat looked better than him.
So did Barbara Eden.
I didn't see Barbara Eden. She was hidden.
Oh, yeah, she looked pretty damn good.
Pretty
Good.
Big Pussy from The Sopranos looked better.
He looked the same. His hair is just kind of gray.
Anywho, we're going to talk about a Halloween classic. We were thinking about doing Suspiria, but it turns out it was a limited release, and it's not really playing anywhere close to any of us. And it's also like a 2.5-hour movie, so that's a hard thing to do. So maybe we'll see Suspiria someday.
it's really 2.5 hours? I did not know that.
It's over 2 hours, so it's.
Oh.
We'll see what
Out.
happens.
Save that for Bloody Good Horror. Let them suffer through that.
We're gonna do Trick or Treat tonight, a Halloween staple. So we'll get to that in the second half, and that's going to be a spoiler right from the beginning. Because if you haven't seen Trick or Treat at this point, just go away.
Get on it, sucker.
Get on, get down on it. Before we go anywhere, Hunter, let's throw it to you for.
Yes, I have a special offer today because it's Halloween and I don't want you to egg us. I want to give you treats. So here's the deal. If you were listening on iTunes, after this episode, I want you to go to iTunes, give us a little review. It could be one sentence. It doesn't even have to be legible. It doesn't have to follow proper grammar. Just put something on there that either tells us we suck or we're great. Email me at huntershay1@gmail.com with a little copy and paste of your review. First 3 people who do it, I will give them a free copy of my new book, The Devil's Fingers, because there's a fungus among us.
Ooh, fancy pants. There was a guy
for
who,
the rest of us.
there's a guy who commented on one of our posts on the website saying about wanting to get his book for reviewing it, but he never responded. So if you're still listening, reach out.
Yeah, really.
Twitter
we
or
read.
something.
2/3 of us read. Not revealing who.
How's
Did we do
War
the
and Peace
drinking
coming,
rules?
moron?
I
Should I do
gave
them?
War and Peace to charity. It won the war, and now I've had peace.
You put the fun in fungus.
I
What
got
did they do?
400 pages in, and I just couldn't do anymore.
400 pages. That's pretty good.
Yeah, there was still 1,800 pages to go. I was like, "Ugh, no,
It's akin to pulling teeth.
it was rough. Give me the movie. Give me a nice 1.5 hour movie. I'll watch that.
Okay, so each week there's a drinking game done by the folks in there's a YouTube chat room that if you're listening to this as a podcast and you want to check us out live on Tuesday nights, we have the live broadcast of this on YouTube, and there's some crazy people that call themselves the finalists or the final guys sex horror cult or what they call it for a lot of different things.
There's a lot going on there.
Game, and so if you want to play along, what are the words tonight?
Here we go. These rules were written by Sheridan Bradford. He sealed them in a mayonnaise jar and left them on Funk and Wagnall's porch. Yeah. So
Here's a
maybe only you and I understand that one, Jack. Actually, half the people listening do.
Joe Palooka was there.
So, Jack, if you say the words classic, rogue, or bus, you all must take a drink. If I say traditional, lollipop, or costume, imbibe. And if Jason says, oh God, kids, cocks, and time, it's kids, cocks time.
Well done, Sheridan.
That's the name of his other podcast.
Chug your favorite drink. And if any of the three of us say werewolf, Sam, or rules, you must drink.
Kids cocks.
That is just, if you put it in a different order. God almighty.
Hello, children.
I feel dirty.
That's the subtitle of the sequel that he's working on for Trick or Treat.
Kids, cocks time.
Okay, you guys ready for some news?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna open up my beer. You do your whiskey thing. I got. Oh shit. There we go.
Like, what are you drinking there?
Good old Budweiser,
Excellent.
the king of beers.
So you know how Jordan Peele is doing a new version of the Twilight Zone?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, announced that I don't know how many episodes are going to be remakes of old ones, but there's going to be at least one. They're going to do a remake of Nightmare at 20,000 Feet.
Of course.
Classic Shatner looking out the window at the gremlin on the plane that was also in the Twilight Zone movie with John Lithgow.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to call it Nightmare at 30,000 feet because planes fly higher now.
They go to 11.
Now, you're probably all pissed off and wincing at this, but Adam Scott's going to be in it. Adam Scott of Parks and Rec and Little Evil and Ghosted and
Oh, good.
Stuff
Deadpan
Brothers.
snark.
Yes. Big horror fan. Funny guy. He's the Catalina wine mixer. Don't mess with my nut. Pow, pow! He's going to be in it. And that's your first piece of news. What do you think?
How much would you kill to see Shatner do it as an
I
old
would
man?
like to see Shatner and Lithgow as other passengers on the plane in that episode.
Oh, as the pilots.
That would be killer.
I said, fasten your seatbelts.
Shatner's the pilot. Lithgow is a flamboyantly gay stewardess. That would have been awesome.
Make this happen. Okay. So you're happy, sad, indifferent?
I mean,
This-
the project sounds pretty cool, so I'm always down. Anytime a new Twilight Zone's coming out, even the one that kind of failed in the early 2000s, I even enjoyed most of that. So
I was thinking if you're going to pick the bones of the old ones, just find something that hasn't already been redone. But whatever. Fine.
yeah, I mean, I like the remake they did with Shatner, or not with Shatner, with
Lithgow.
Lithgow.
I think he prefers.
Yeah.
If
That's what he
they
said at my dinner party.
if they picked a handful of the classic episodes and remade them well, I think that might be a fun way to get younger people to go back and check out the original show. And I think like if they threw this to us and said, do a new Twilight Zone, we would contemplate like, oh, should we update some of the old ones? So I have an open mind to it because I think the talent that they're putting around it is top notch. If this was going to be like Pauly Shore and Carmen Electra, I don't know.
I would do the one with the guy who goes to that castle and the monks are there and there's that howling man in the room and they say, "Don't open the door," and it's Satan. That one scared the shit out of me as a kid. You could do a lot of good stuff with that one.
Get on the phone with Jordan Peele.
I think I will.
Yeah, call him up.
Yeah, let me check my Rolodex. My paper Rolodex.
Next piece of news. You guys aware that there was a new Halloween movie that came out recently? It's a sequel to the original. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis in it.
Yeah, these three douchebags reviewed it last week.
Kind of came and went at the box office.
Oh. There's already rumblings about a sequel being written.
Of course.
And they asked Jamie Lee Curtis if she would be into it. And she said she would on one condition. And that's if
Ka-ching.
director David Gordon returns. She said she'd be totally up for it as long as David Gordon Green was driving.
Because he did such a good job.
So I know we all talked about how wouldn't it be nice if they just kind of closed the book and moved on. We knew that wasn't going to happen. You can guarantee there's going to be a Halloween 2.5. I don't know what this would be. Halloween.
Should they do Halloween 3 Season of the Witch redone?
You know,
I would do that.
That was on TV the other day when I was watching it. I would like to see that movie redone because there's some really dumb stuff in that if they could fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a prime one for remake. You just don't call it Halloween. Just call it Season of the Witch.
Exactly.
Witch.
Just call it Tom Atkins, motherfucker.
Yeah.
They should have him just recast him and he's still banging some young hitchhiker he picks up.
I told you when I met him, right? When I ran into him,
Mhm.
he was so funny.
Love that guy.
He is everything you think he is.
So he's not acting. He's just cast as himself.
He is straight up Tom Atkins.
What's his big line in Night of the Creeps?
Thrill me.
Thrill me. The last piece of news. Do you guys realize that tomorrow's Halloween?
No.
Yes.
October 31st, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you know that there is a petition going around? It's on I believe it's change.org. There's a petition going around to have Halloween changed to always be on the last Saturday of October instead of October 31st, so that kids can trick or treat on a weekend night. It's safer. It's more fun because they can stay out later. You can do a whole day, and it's easier on everybody.
We can't do that, Jack.
I wanted to get your opinion on this because there is a petition doing it, and there's something to be said for it. But I wanted to know, they have at least 25,000 signatures so far.
The last Saturday of October is Chiller Theater, so no, I can't do both.
Why can't your community just trick or treat on the Saturday before Halloween? What? I don't understand this.
If it ain't Halloween, I'm not answering the door. You can go take a hike, kid.
Seriously,
go pound sand.
how hard is this? Who gives a shit?
You can knock on my door that's not October 31st. You're getting Charlie Browned. You're getting a bag of rocks.
So you're the reason why they need a change.org petition to change the date of the house.
Screw your change.
I think that's it, though, because like most people, if they throw a Halloween party, will do it the Saturday before Halloween. It's not Halloween parties. It's the actual trick-or-treating. Now, schools and neighborhoods will do like we're going to have like the whatever they call that thing with the trick-or-treat trunk thing for everybody.
Trunk or treat?
Trunk or treat. What's your junk in that trunk? I'm going to get you drunk. So there's things like that. However, there's also just the random, if a kid showed up at my door on the Saturday before Halloween instead of Halloween night, I'm not going to expect that they're trick-or-treating unless it was like a common knowledge thing.
Yeah.
So that's where it's the what is the night of trick-or-treating?
Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, it's just a social norm, right? That you expect it on whatever day Halloween is. If that just changes to whatever the Saturday before Halloween is, I guess I don't see a difference.
If you party on Saturday, the last Saturday, and then you get Halloween as a bonus day.
Why not make November 1st a legal holiday so that you can stay out on Halloween night?
I'm down for that,
That I love.
even though it would have no bearing on me. But
Just like the Monday after Super Bowl should be a holiday.
Exactly. Should be the 2 days that you just get that day off. And then if it falls on a Saturday, you don't get a day off. You just
How about Halloween week?
well, that's what we
Can we do that? I mean, we do Halloween month, but I like the day off after Halloween. That's a great idea.
it's typically the weekend before that I have issues with alcohol anyway. So
I
extra
have
day would be
major
nice.
issues with alcohol right now. My liver is weeping as we speak.
I just like to see a month of girls dressed up like French maids and Catwoman and Wonder Woman and Little Bo Peeps and all the great
Horroween.
So anyway, that's it. So if you want to sign that petition, just Google it.
Good.
With that, let's talk about what we watched.
We have such sights to show you.
Take it.
All right, folks. I just noticed that Spencer in the chat room wants the day after WrestleMania off.
Jesus Christ.
I think that's the day where he could go try and find a life.
You know what? He could get the day off if that's what he dedicates the day to. Anybody who needs a day after WrestleMania off needs to find a life within 24 hours, or you get shipped to Fallujah and enjoy your
when is
life
WrestleMania?
there.
I was at the WrestleMania that Mike Tyson was at.
Really?
Yeah. Boston, home of the champion Red Sox. Anywho, gentlemen, I would imagine we have watched some horror movies this week.
Mm-hmm.
So who would like to go first?
I probably have the most, so I'll go first.
All right.
Someone in the Facebook group, Final Guys Horror Cult Facebook group, check it out, said we should check out Terrified. It's a Shudder exclusive. So I did. It's God, I don't remember, Spanish film?
I think it's Argentine.
Argentina, you're right. It's in Spanish. Yeah. It's from Argentina.
No bueno.
No mas.
Watching this reminded me of the early 2000s when we were getting all those great Japanese horror films that would have some really disturbing imagery, some crazy shit. You maybe didn't exactly know what the hell was going on, but it looked super cool. That's what this felt like to me. Even as it ended, I was thinking, I think I missed something. Maybe I looked away and missed some subtitles or something, but I didn't 100% follow some of the stuff. But damn, it looked pretty cool for the most part. This is a neat film. Like I said, it just really reminded me of when I used to really try to find some of these crazy-ass Japanese films. So it's always fun to find something that's just a little different. There was some creepy shit in this. It's definitely worth checking out. It's short, too. It's like an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 30 minutes. So.
Ooh.
I
It's
think
on
Shudder.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Shudder.
Yeah. One
One of my editors wrote to me out of the blue to tell me to watch it. So maybe I'll do that tonight because I'm torn between 3 movies tonight. Maybe that'll be the one.
It's pretty cool. I'm probably going to watch it again just to see if, I don't know, I was groggy or I don't know if I was drinking or something, but I remember at the end thinking, I'm not sure I followed that. But
so there's subtitles?
Yes, there are some subtitles. A couple errors in them, which surprised me since it was a Shudder exclusive, but, whatever. You watch too many foreign films, you see that shit.
I got to be honest, I'm not up for a subtitles movie tonight.
I might be. I'm down for anything right
I
now.
got to be alcohol free to stay awake and pay attention.
This is true.
So
Tonight, I'm feeling like comfort food tonight. I'm going to watch something old and familiar tonight.
All right, so that's one.
All right, Hunter.
Okay. I watched a movie that scared the living crap out of my wife when we saw it in the theater, Paranormal Activity,
Mm-hmm.
which to me, I know Blair Witch kind of kickstarted things. Paranormal Activity, I think, cemented found footage horror. And the crazy thing is that the guy who made it came here from Israel with nothing to do with the film industry whatsoever, except I think I can do this. It was just the strict ignorance is bliss, and somehow he made a fortune off of this movie. It's very effective. Look, as somebody who lives in a house that is haunted, it's especially effective. And the reason why I will not put up cameras or EVP in my house ever, because I just don't want to piss it off and I don't want to see or hear more than I already do. And I think you guys will agree with me that Katie has the best chest in many a horror movie that is completely downplayed.
I
Should have been in
don't
3D.
remember.
That would have made it a better movie.
No, I still think this is good. It's funny how much of like a douchebag her husband, boyfriend, whatever it is, like completely going against her wishes. But then when he brings the Ouija board in, she gets like, as a man who's been married 26 years, I know that level of pissed. And it felt actually authentic. So I thought the acting was good in this. I thought just the whole setup I thought was really cool. The ending I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of the alternate ending either, but I don't know how it's Hollywood, so you need a way to end it, where most hauntings they end with you either accepting it or just moving on, leaving. So there isn't that big denouement moment. Denouement.
Her husband is me. If I ever encountered something here, the cameras are out, the Ouija's out, everything. I'm doing seances in the living room floor. My wife is pissed at me the entire time.
I bet your
100%.
wife would throat punch you.
She would. And I
Yeah,
would deserve
you'd
it,
be
and it
dead.
would not stop me.
You would be the next spirit in that house.
Yeah, that's a good one. I love that movie. I haven't gone back to it in a while, and I need to, because that and Blair Witch to me are just iconic.
Yeah.
I'm actually not a big fan of the movie.
Really? Well, it's okay.
I saw it in the theater, but it was a kind of an empty theater, and I think that hurt it as far as the experience went. But even I kept watching and going, "Oh, they could have done that better. That was pretty dumb."
You and I saw 3 together in the theater.
I like which was the one with the fan.
Yeah, that was part 3.
I like
That's a
that.
really good one.
I like that. I thought this one was okay, but I don't have any desire to go back and watch it again. Maybe I will.
Here's the deal. The Paranormal Activity series, the even ones are good. The odd ones are terrible.
Yeah, the second one was I never saw the marked ones.
The marked one's all right. The fourth one is
decent.
terrible.
The marked ones is all right.
Yeah, and that's part 5. So stick with the odds.
The last one killed the series, though. I don't know that it's going to recover from how bad that last one was.
The Ghost Dimension?
Yeah, it was awful.
With the girl who was in Chernobyl Diaries and the magicians.
But the blonde one?
Save it. Yeah. Oh, she's like Patricia Arquette.
She was pretty gorgeous, but that movie was terrible.
Dream Warriors. I might watch that tonight.
Dream Warriors. So yeah, Paranormal Activity. I like Jack don't. Jason do.
I don't dislike it. I just don't love it.
All right. You don't have to.
I continued my funky stretch of badassery. Last week I watched Blackula, and this week I watched the sequel, Scream Blackula Scream from 1973.
I thought you were going to tell me Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde.
No.
I have not seen this movie. I had never even heard of it.
So it turns out that in my memory, I was blurring Blackula and Scream Blackula Scream because there's a fight with cops in this movie that in my mind was in the first Blackula, and then I realized like, oh, I've seen both of these movies, or at least I've seen part of this one. I know I've seen the original Blackula several times.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen this one, but may have thought I was watching. It was must have been like on the 4:30 movie or something when I was a kid, and I thought I was watching Blackula, but it was, so there was parts of this. What is notable about this movie is Pam Grier's in it.
So really,
Jackie Brown herself,
Brick Shithouse,
is in it, and it revolves around voodoo. So there's this voodoo cult isn't the right word, but voodoo group.
Hoodoo.
And their high priestess dies, and her son wants to be the heir to this, but Pam Grier is who the group actually wants. So he gets mad and he buys the bones of dead Blackula off of this dude.
eBay.
Does a voodoo ritual and brings him back, very much like the Christopher Lee Dracula movies, where everyone at the beginning they bring him back somehow. They bring Blackula back, but Blackula, instead of serving him, immediately bites him and enslaves him.
Nice.
That's right, because he's a bad mother effer.
A similar Blackula is on a killing spree, but he's also on a quest to cure himself of vampirism, and he's trying to get Pam Grier to perform a voodoo ritual that will cure him. But in his wake, he's creating many more vampires and leaving a trail of bodies. So it's not as good as Blackula, but it's just as much fun. And actually, the voodoo twist on this for a vampire movie is actually kind of a interesting and fun little thing. I watched this on Tubi TV, that thing where you watch it for free, but there's commercials. That was so I saw it for free on that. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun to watch those back to back and get back
Awesome.
to the 70s.
Cool. I'll have to check that out. I literally had never heard of that. So I went back and finally watched a movie that I thought I'd seen for years. Every time it came up, I was like, "Oh, that's a good movie," but I actually had never seen it upon watching it this week. Night of the Comet, 1984.
My wife wanted to watch that last night, and we didn't get around to it. That's one of her favorite all-time movies.
So I have no idea how I just missed this. I don't know if I confused it with something else. I don't know. But Night of the Creeps, I have no idea. But so I had no nostalgic anything for this, and I gotta tell you, it wasn't my favorite. I could see why people liked it, but it was just so tongue-in-cheek and odd. I don't know.
It's very 80s. It's super 80s.
It's excessively 80s. I don't know. This is a weird movie. I can see why people, particularly if you'd seen it when you were younger, would really be into this, but it was not my thing. I don't know. I just kept watching thinking, this is a cult classic? Nothing happens.
It is. It was a big kind of underground movie when we were coming of age in the 80s. Well, and we were all in love with what's her face, the blonde, the brunette.
I don't think I ever saw it because I remember seeing the commercials for it when it came out, and it looked dumb to me, and I had no interest in ever seeing it. And now I saw it pop up on Shudder, and I was like, oh, I should watch this. And it's one of those ones that I might pop it in and be like, oh yeah, I did watch this, because there's part of it I watched the trailer.
It's the Day After meets the Omega Man meets a zombie movie.
And they're talking about remaking this one too now.
This would be a good one to remake.
You could remake this.
This
actually
would be
make it solid.
So, Night of the Comet, not really my thing. It was excessively 80s, and I don't know. It was cheeseball, but I mean that was the point.
Watch Chopping Mall instead. That'll get you your 80s.
I prefer Chopping Mall to this, and I'm not a giant Chopping Mall. I watched Chopping Mall because I was hoping it would be so bad it's good, and it was actually a decent B movie, so I was like disappointed at the time because it was too good.
Yep.
So,
yeah, that's not an SBIG movie.
No. Wait, shh.
Jesus Christ, is that a giant jug from the Bear Jug Band? There's not much booze left in that.
Not much. It's the end of my maple bourbon.
Mm.
It's alcoholic diabetes.
Good man. Good man.
Yeah, this definitely not watching subtitles tonight.
Thankfully, I'm getting off early tomorrow for Halloween, so I don't have to be really conscious tomorrow.
Whose turn is it? Yours, Hunter?
It is mine. I watched this little-known movie. I'm not going to talk much about it because there's enough. There's documentaries about it. It's called The Shining. You ever seen The Shining?
We had that on in the office the other day.
I think I've heard of it.
Here's what I want to bring up. I brought up The Shining, as I will do when I give my ratings, my Tana leaves. It's 9 of 9 Tana leaves for those who are keeping track at home. And Tim Meyer came out and was wondering whether I was referring to the Kubrick version or the far superior Mick Garris TV. So he started a little revolution online with several people ganging up and preferring the frickin' Mick Garris TV
this is
version.
Only because Stephen King says it's superior, because it's identical to his book. There's no way anybody can watch that.
I watched that, and it was the worst thing. It was the most. There was just, I'll never forget. There was one scene where like they're in the lobby of the hotel, and they all leave, and then like the cash register goes off by itself. It was like watching a Vincent Price TV show, The House of Dr. Funkenstein level haunted house. It was so bad.
Well, here's the deal. I remember nothing from the TV show because nothing is memorable. Whereas so much of the Shining Kubrick version has become just part of Americana at this point.
Yep. I actually just watched it 2 days ago as well.
Yeah, my wife had never watched it all the way through, which I was shocked. I don't know how that's possible. So she loved it. I mean, I asked my daughter if she wanted to watch it. She goes, "Oh, I just watched it the other day on my own." It's a freaking great movie.
It's one of the best. If somebody wanted to argue with me that it's the best horror movie ever, nice. I wouldn't argue with them. I mean, there's a legitimate argument to be made. It's the best horror movie.
There is an art that went into making that movie that is not devoted to horror movies. Very rarely.
Mhm.
I mean,
So
The Shape of Water, maybe I might put in that category, but it doesn't pull it off as well as The Shining does. I'm just talking about level of direction
yeah,
and the way, the look and feel and the acting. You very rarely get that.
and now
This
that
is-
you have like big HD TVs, and you can just get a
Oh.
real feel for this hotel and the detail of what's going on.
Jesus.
It takes it to another level. We had it on in the office, and the scene where they go into the room 237, is it?
Mhm.
And I just casually say, I go, "Oh, this is one of the all-time great horror scenes ever filmed." And somebody goes, "Why? Because there's a naked lady?" I was like, "Yeah, that's the obvious joke, but watch this scene. This
Dunce.
scene has everything because the guy gets lured in by this beautiful woman. Like this is one of those scenes that everybody just gets unnerved by it. It's
Nicholson's face.
Mm-hmm.
The transformation that goes in from bewilderment to come on. He's first of all, he's terrifying. And the whole time my wife was going, was he always crazy? Like, what's the character? Like, she couldn't quite get Jack Torrance. I just said, be grateful I don't get as mad at you when you disrupt my writing as he does. So shut up before I bash your fucking brains in.
The scene right after the 237 scene when he goes into their apartment and just says nothing happened. That's when it's they're all in deep trouble.
Exactly. It's over from here, boys and girls.
and of course there's the all-time great. We should have done a whole episode on this.
We should at some point, since it's free now on Netflix. We should do it.
It's worth it.
The dude in the bear suit.
Oh,
What the hell? What went on in that hotel? But really, what goes on in any hotel?
in watching it again, I was thinking, this is really long, and a lot of this stuff is extraneous, but at the same time, it's completely what builds the isolation and how crazy and vast this hotel is, or all these shots in the hallways and the hedge maze and all that stuff. So I think when we were talking about Invasion of the Body Snatchers, felt the same way. Sometimes you felt like this is a little long, but if you took that out, I don't think the movie's nearly as effective.
So you know what? To me,
great.
this has always been a 2 hour and 20-minute movie that feels like a half an hour. It's one of those one, and I mean, I saw it when the first weekend it came out. We saw it in a tiny theater in Rhode Island, and I've watched it a million times since. And it just never, for me, it never drags because I think I'm busy watching everything at this point. I'm like,
It's an
why did he
incredible
choose
film.
that picture? Why did he choose this lens? It's like crazy.
Yeah, it's and the music,
of course,
not just the music, the sound design in general is off the charts.
And of course,
Yeah.
the big mistake in the movie, when they show the hotel at the beginning, there's no maze outside.
Oh, you're right.
I noticed that.
Oops.
So, all right. So you both saw The Shining.
Yep.
Would you?
Yeah, baby.
Would you recommend it?
Yes, and I would not recommend you listen to Tim Meyer.
I would recommend the TV version. It's far superior as far as an adaptation of King's work.
I'm driving to your house and kicking you in the balls.
The scene with the hedges coming to life really worked.
Oh my god. That scene is proof that sometimes you have to change what's in the book.
Exactly.
Is it my turn?
Mhm.
It is
Yes.
my turn. So I watched the movie the week that we did Malevolent.
Mhm.
I think you guys both watched Stephanie the same week.
Yeah.
If not, you watched
Yeah.
it. So I watched it, and I'm thinking to myself, this would have been a way better featured movie than
Yep.
Malevolent. That's
It
a
was.
great movie. It's low budget, but as horror fans, if it's a good movie with a low budget, it doesn't matter.
How good is that girl?
The little girl's awesome. Frank Grillo, Crossbones of the MCU. The chick from Fringe
Mhm.
is the
Yep.
mother. Everybody, it starts off like a haunted house movie, and there's a great sense of what is going on here that carries the movie for a long time. Then you're not really sure what's going on till the third act of this movie.
I had no
or
clue.
later.
Yeah, I could not figure out what the hell it was.
And then one of the most satisfying Netflix movies I've ever seen. I've really enjoyed it. But the worst trailer and thumbnail on
The thumbnail is terrible. The name is awful. The thumbnail is terrible. Like it seemed like they did everything they could to screw it.
the trailer. It wasn't like a trailer for what when I clicked on it. It was just it's the scene of Frank Grillo building a fence and his daughter. He's like, "So you're not going to run away, right?" Yep. Okay. So I was like, I'm not going to watch this. And then I think Pam recommended it, and then you guys watch it, and I watched. I'm like, oh man, no, this is like everybody should see this movie. This is a really good one. So
it's in my top list of the year.
Yeah, if it's a release from this year, it's definitely it's definitely on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm having trouble remembering what came out this year and what didn't because this has been a weird year.
Because it's unremarkable. All right,
remarkable.
I got one left here. So I just saw another Shudder exclusive called The Witch in the Window.
Oh, it's on my queue.
Oh, Jesus.
I had never heard of
terrible.
this. I thought this movie was great.
I'm thinking The Elf on the Shelf.
I was blown away by it. It's The Witch in the Window. It's a son and a father buy a house to flip it, and they go up, and it's kind of a bonding thing between them. And what do you know? The house is haunted. It's just, I didn't want to watch it because it sounded so generic. I wanted something just to be on in the background. And it caught me in the first couple of minutes because the main guy's acting was pretty good and looked like a decent film. So I just watched it, and I really got into it. The guy who wrote and directed it, I think his name is Andy Mitten. Yeah. Who did
Kitten Mittens.
Who did We Go On 2 years ago, which was a pretty damn good movie too.
We Go On is good.
Yeah. So this guy's someone to watch now. He's only done very low budget things, but I want somebody to keep giving him a little more money. He's got some chops to him. And I don't know, I just thought there's really only 4 or 5 actors in the whole movie, but the main guy carries it, and it just, I don't know, for me, particularly in the third act, there was a lot of emotion in it. It was a very bittersweet kind of storyline, and I dug it, so I would check it out. I don't want to say much more because I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but
right,
it was a little different than your standard haunted house movie.
I've almost clicked on that movie a bunch of times, so I'm glad to hear because I never am convinced to go for it. So now that you said that, I'll give it a chance.
This is the kind of low budget stuff I love Shudder for, so definitely give it a try.
Here I am, like crapping on it immediately because the name. All right, now it's on my list. I've just added it.
Solid.
Says the man who wrote Swamp Monster Massacre.
That's right, brother. Never judge a book by its shitty title.
How many times have we brought that name up on this show?
You know what's funny? That's like one of the only book names I ever came up with that the editor didn't change. How much of a genius am I?
What's your other book? Biggest Dickus or no? Radis New Yorkus.
He had the wife, in hunting antibiotics. Okay.
You got anything else?
I watched 14 movies this week, but no, I'm going with a book because after I left Chiller, we went to get Five Guys burgers and fries by me, and the Alamo was next door. And so while my daughter ordered, I said, I'm grabbing another beer at the Alamo. And I was looking for this book at Chiller, and they didn't have it. It's Don Coscarelli's True Indie.
Ooh.
His hardcover, which I've been hearing such great things about. I heard him interviewed with Mick Garris. I've heard him on Shockwaves. This book is fucking awesome. If you are a fan of horror, of filmmaking, just if you're within this realm, you're going to want to read this book because Don, it's like like 100 chapters and these short chapters, and it takes everything from him in high school all the way to Bubba Hotep and beyond. Right now, I'm 100 pages in. We're into Phantasm right now, and just the guts that he had, and again, ignorance is bliss. Just doing things when if you had too much knowledge, you wouldn't even try it.
Sure.
It's such an accessible book, and there's a real sense of humor to it. This is a great friggin' book. I can't recommend this enough. And I tweeted it out, and he's written back to me since a couple of times.
Wow.
So he's paying attention.
That's funny because I remember at Chiller when you said you were looking for that.
Yeah, and I found it at the friggin' Alamo of all places. He had been there the week before, and I didn't know.
Oh.
So, and this was the last copy left, and they had it just right up at the register, and I grabbed it. And I'm not a hardcover guy. I don't usually buy hardcovers, but
You're the second person to tell me how good that book was. I'm gonna have to grab it.
I am loving this. Why not here, Jason? I'll invite you. Come to my house. You and I will do Tubby Time,
Oh,
and I will read you a chapter a night.
oh, so this is a long-term commitment.
You know you
Chapter a
want-
night.
And then when we're done, I will read you Bigfoot porn.
He won't film the ghosts in his house, but something tells me he'll film that.
I will. I will
Be a
film
GoPro
you,
in the
Jason.
corner.
Tubby Time and True Indie. Bucket list.
Get indie tub.
Bucket list. So check it out. True Indie. Don Coscarelli. Great book.
Okay, really quick. I just started watching something on Netflix. I'm too deep. I think there's only like 6 episodes of it. It's a documentary kind of docu-entertainment, whatever the hell they call it.
Docutainment.
Docutainment. It's called Haunted, and they give a person telling like a true ghost story, surrounded by friends and family, and then interspersed with actors reenacting it with very high production value for the reenactment, which is why you should watch it, because it's visually very well done, but it's kind of also funny because I watched this second episode, which is very controversial because it's about a couple of girls who claimed that they grew up with a father who was a serial killer, and then they thought he was possessed and all the supernatural stuff happened, and people on the internet are like, there's absolutely no evidence that this actually happened. Everything's full of crap. However, it's kind of entertaining in that the first 2 episodes are somebody like pouring their heart out about this tough life that they've either had or are still going through, and then their friends and family just kind of looking like, while they cry, and then disperse. So they're anywhere from a half hour to 20 minutes, it looks like. So I'm sure if like you watch like Haunting of Hill House, like it'll be like the next thing that Netflix suggests.
Recommended for you.
Yeah. So
I saw it on there.
before I give Sabrina a try, I'm going to run through this.
So it sounds
I
like
can't
it's
wait
almost
to
like that movie, The Nightmare, which was about sleep paralysis or something like that.
Yes.
Recreated.
I made
sleep paralysis.
I made it through 10 minutes of that movie and I turned it off.
I didn't even try.
It sounds similar with the
Life's too short.
reenactments.
So this feels like one of those like, I'm eating dinner, I want something on in the background, I'll pop that on.
Right. Yeah, those serve a purpose too.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to the meat of the bone here and get to Trick or Treat because we're going long here. So
Smell my feet.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
all right, Trick or Treat is one of the all-time classic Halloween. I guess it's an anthology because it's several different stories, but there's Sam.
Nice.
But it's also kind of not an anthology because all the 4 stories are really tied together. So, Hunter, give us a quick synopsis of Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat is my favorite anthology of all horror anthologies. I've come to realize this. Creepshow was always number 1, but Creepshow drags in parts. Trick or Treat is 4 little tiny horror vignettes all tied together, kind of goes back and forth in time like a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yes.
It's all on takes place on Halloween night, all in the same town. And there's this little guy named Jack, who's this little, he's got a little like, sack for a head and everything. And he walks around, this little tiny kid. And he kind of ties it all together where the concept is, if you don't like Halloween or you're a douche on Halloween, you are going to suffer seriously. And there is it's a nice little wraparound story. There is a serial killer principal. There are hot girl werewolves. There is a murdering bus driver who's going to get his comeuppance. And which one am I missing? Oh, then there's the torturing the poor autistic girl.
And the principal.
So I love all of these stories.
There's sweet Leslie Bibb and her husband at the beginning.
There's Leslie Bibb, and who's the girl from True Blood?
Anna Paquin.
Anna Paquin's in this. There's it starts out with one of the guys from Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Brian Cox.
Temo Pennicott and never Brian Cox. Come on, Brian Cox. So this is
the original Hannibal Lecter.
If this hasn't become your your thing that you have to watch that last week before Halloween, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Why don't you go watch the Elf on the Shelf cartoon and get ready for Christmas?
Watch the David S. Pumpkins animated special.
But this movie is the balls. So you guys go. Let's expand on this.
What do you think, Jason?
I love this movie. I saw it when it first came out because I remember this was one that I think was maybe being shown in 2007 at festivals or something. Maybe they had some screenings, but it didn't actually come out till maybe 2009. And I'd been looking forward to it forever. And when I finally saw it, I just loved it. I watching it again, I agree with you, Hunter. This is probably my favorite horror anthology. Creepshow is great. I love Creepshow, but I actually think this might be a little better. It just flows so seamlessly from story to story and then back into a story that's finished or you thought wasn't going to have anything to do with it. It's great. Acting is great.
One of the things,
amazing.
I mean, I'm sure you and I both love the comic book kind of thing with Creepshow.
Yes. Yep.
You get this in the beginning of Trick or Treat.
Mhm.
I love it. But you're right. It flows better and it's tighter than Creepshow.
It's almost as if I could see a lot of people not even thinking of this as being an anthology because the rap flows through it so perfectly and the stories run so seamlessly that I could see a lot of people thinking it's just like a straight narrative. And unfortunately, this didn't get released in theaters, which, man, if this anthology can't get released, I don't know what could. I think the genre is now permanently direct to video.
It is kind of ridiculous.
It's crazy because this movie's great.
Now, Michael Dougherty, who directed this, he also went on to do Krampus.
Mm-hmm. And he's doing
he's working on Godzilla, King of Monsters.
And he did Superman Returns. We're not going to hold that against him.
So I also feel that this is my favorite horror anthology. And I'm actually not a huge fan of Creepshow. I think it's okay. Creepshow is really uneven to me. There's some parts that I like. There's some stories I like and some stories I can't wait for them to be over. So Creepshow is one of those things every once in a while I'll watch it, but I have no huge love for it. But it's fine. And I don't begrudge anybody for loving it. Trick or Treat is tight, like you were saying. Stellar cast. It's the Pulp Fiction of horror anthologies because it is non-sequential.
It's non-linear. It all ties together.
And so there's this awesome sense of like, oh, here's the other perspective of what was going on here. Or, there's all these links. So that keeps engaging you. The star power in this is so great. Mm-hmm. It keeps you guessing. And then I've seen this movie a bunch of times. I totally forget the order of what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And so it keeps surprising me because I always kind of think like, oh, I thought that came later. It balances the line of horror and humor really well. And
yes,
a couple of years ago, my niece had, was like out on her own after college. And she's like, oh, we're having a Halloween party and give me some suggestions of some horror movies to watch. So I'm thinking, okay, what's a good, like, these are normies. Mm-hmm. They want stuff. So I threw out a couple of the obvious ones like, oh, Halloween might be good and this and that. And then I was like, oh, you know what? Watch Trick or Treat. And this may be the best Halloween have it on at a party.
So then they went on and put on the Gene Simmons Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I hate you, Uncle Jack.
Uncle Jack's a dick.
Can you even find that movie?
I have a copy, actually.
There we go. Jason's house.
I think I saw that in the theater.
I think I did too.
So going back and watching it now was such a great get me in the mood for Halloween thing. So I'm very happy that we pivoted and picked this movie because
pivot.
I just, man, every time I watch it, I love it.
Was that from Friends?
Yes. Pivot. Here's the deal. This is how much we love this movie in my house. I've got this $100 mask that I bought at a horror convention for my daughter.
Damn.
B, my daughter's first tattoo was Sam's lollipop.
Damn.
Which she plans to put always check your candy around it to follow up with that. We have this on Blu-ray. We watch this every year. In fact, we watch it throughout the year. One thing that my daughter and I were talking about last night, this is shot beautifully.
Mhm.
The colors in this, it's autumn. It's this rich, vibrant autumnal deep hues in here. I'm getting into Jason territory talking about. Is there a color ratio? I'm not sure. I love the tint. I love the tint of this movie. It's just beautiful to look at.
But
And-
also, movie Halloween neighborhoods are what you always wished you grew up in, and this is like the epitome of that.
I'm so happy because my neighborhood looks a lot like that neighborhood.
The woman at the
On
beginning,
Halloween.
who seems completely anti-Halloween and pissy and bitchy,
Bitch.
has the
Sweet Leslie
craziest,
Bibb.
most amazing front yard for Halloween ever. But apparently
Well,
she hates the holiday.
Yeah, that's because her husband does it. And I'm sure he has to do a lot of crap on Christmas he doesn't want to do. I don't know what that feels like at all. But also, there's no dead spots in this movie.
No,
There's
none.
zero. It's all killer Zippo filler.
I watched this for the first time with someone. It was probably a couple years ago now, but I'd kind of forgotten how you really don't know where the stories are going a lot of times. The Anna Paquin story is set up as this virginal thing, which it is, but it's not what you expect.
Right.
They do some cool things with the principal guy that you just have no idea where that's going.
They do some great stuff with that.
I love how he poisons the kid from Bad Santa. It's so messed up.
The violence against kids, they don't hold back in this movie at all.
Not at all. And I love the twist they gave with Brian Cox.
Yes.
Oh,
I honestly, I had forgotten about that until seeing it again the other day. Great twist.
And pre-True Blood Anna Paquin. So it was kind of cool. So we and Hunter and I were talking about this before we went on the air. If you just had the 4 Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, Snow White, and Bo Peep or whatever it is, if you just had a movie of those 4, I'd be happy for the rest of my life. That is like the
forever
4 best looking Halloween chicks in the history of movies.
Watch it every day.
Yeah, I love how irreverent they are when they're changing too. They're saying all these crazy things, and you think they're in some adult store.
Yes.
They're just little kids right outside. Oh, that's good stuff.
Here's a little trivia. The little kid who was peeping on them?
Mm-hmm.
That's Quinn Lord, who was Sam.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I was wondering about that. I said, he's got to be somebody.
He had 2 roles in that movie.
So Sam, there's an iconic figure that is close, but he hasn't cracked the upper echelon like Jason, Freddy, and Pinhead.
Because he's only had one movie.
He's only had one movie. Now, I looked into this, and there's actually been a rumored part 2 to this, which the guy who we were just talking about has been talking about for like 5 years now. But recently, as recently as last year, he said after he does Godzilla King of the Monsters, he's going to turn his attention back to a Trick or Treat 2. I wondered what you guys thought about that, because I'm all for it if they put the work into the script and the cast. They have to do it as well as the first one. It can't be a cheap,
look at what he was able to do when he didn't have the clout that he has now. But the only problem is you got to hope that the claws of the studios don't dig too deep into it. You know what I mean?
This to me feels like a perfect Blumhouse Netflix movie. Just give him another $5 million, let him do whatever the hell he wants, put it on Netflix. Because if it's another anthology, it's not going to get a wide release. If the first one didn't, I don't see how this one does either. But you don't even have to tie it into the first one. You just have have Sam and cool stories. It feels like this is something they could do forever if they did it right.
What Halloween originally planned to do.
Yes,
is
exactly.
Just continually do something and just have Sam as the little figure that he always gets his vignette. In what it's about vampires, it's about werewolves, about zombies, whatever the thing is, Sam's always kind of there and he gets his 20 minutes of the movie.
Right.
Exactly. I hope he gets around to doing this again someday. And I'm hoping it wouldn't be a studio issue if it's a Netflix film or something like that he could just kind of do whatever the hell he wants.
If I won the Powerball, he was one of the people I was going to give a lot of money to just make a movie. I wanted the sequel to this.
We'll see what.
Plus, I was going to tell Ty West he had to work with me. I don't give a shit. Whatever. He can do whatever with Godzilla. I know he has his finger on the pulse of Halloween, so I want to see him do that again.
So
going back to the werewolf chicks,
What a shock.
Here's the thing: the first time you see that movie, that is a very surprising thing, right?
Yes.
When you go back and watch it, knowing what's going to happen, and you can see the clues they're dropping, but that doesn't lessen the impact of the scene, because that's one of the scenes that I that's the one I forgot. I thought that happens at the end of the movie, and it kind of happens more at the end of the second act, I guess. And
Yeah.
it ties up the principal. It ties up
Very much so.
the girls, and that's one of the there's several twists like that. There's the principal twist, the Brian Cox twist. All the twists in this are so well executed that even when you've seen the movie 10 times, you're just like, oh yeah, wow, I love it.
Well, that's the thing. Even when you know the twist, it doesn't take anything away. It doesn't rob it of its power.
That werewolf transformation, I got the L in there, was that's a good one. It is really good. Now the actual creatures when they're transformed aren't the best, but
no,
the transformation itself is pretty damn good. I like the way it did
pulling off your flesh to be the werewolf, like a sleeve.
It's molting, yeah.
Anna Paquin is a gorgeous evil werewolf.
But every time I watch it and they're talking about how she's looking for her first time, I'm like, yeah, this girl's a virgin, sure. Just walk into a bar.
Yeah, I know, really. I want to get laid. You know what I love? The one where the kids intentionally try to torture the autistic girl. She's so cute and she just breaks my heart. And when these kids, because that one girl who's in charge, the ringleader, what a effing bitch.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, what a horrible human being.
But she's dressed like an angel, isn't she?
Yeah. It's like, sure. I love when they go trick-or-treating and they get to the adult party with that drunk woman. You want something to drink? And the kid's talking about the gym teacher dressed like a hot dog, butt fucking like a rabbit or something.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, that's like coming to our house at Halloween.
The drunk woman turns around and shakes her ass at the children.
Oh, my God. You know, I've done worse on Halloween. So
do you come to the door dressed like the bear in The Shining?
I was Elvira's redneck cousin who talked like Wendy Williams a couple of years ago, and I was out of my mind. There's a lot of people with video of me.
Nice.
Entertaining.
Very nice.
So I get it. But that's one of my favorite. I really love that one. And I love when she's going up in the elevator and you go, oh, maybe she doesn't understand what she's doing. She just waves bye-bye to them. See you later, assholes.
Yep. That's good shit.
I love the time jumps too. I totally was thinking about Pulp Fiction. Recently, I went on YouTube and found they have like edited versions of Pulp Fiction that put it in chronological order. Oh, it's really interesting to watch that and see, because you kind of know in your head, but when you see it laid out, you're like, oh yeah, that seems like in the middle of the movie, really.
Right.
You know, so when I was watching this, it's funny because when you said that in the opening, I'm like, yeah, I was totally thinking Pulp Fiction with this. And they do it so well. And I love things that do that thing well, where they show an incident from one perspective and then later you see it from the other. And this is one of the best cases of doing that.
Yeah.
Even they tell you what the last segment is going to be right in the middle of the movie when that girl is talking about what happened with the bus, but you assume she's just making it up to scare everyone, and it turns out that was completely true. That's great.
Yeah. Oh my God. The only question I have in this is, why would that guy have a picture commemorating the day he murders those children? And just happens to throw it in the fire that day. But whatever. We needed that because he wasn't going to say it.
He has a great performance there too. He barely speaks in that whole last segment. He just basically screams and groans. Yeah. And it's fantastic.
I love when he shoots Sam and the way that body just skids across the floor, spewing like pumpkin guts.
Did you ever see the Seinfeld that's in reverse? And Kramer has the lollipop, and at the beginning of the episode, which is the end, it's almost done, and then a couple of this has a similar thing where Sam kills somebody with the lollipop, and then we kind of see where the bite comes from
Yes.
that made the thing sharp. That's so well done.
A lollipop you can find on my daughter's leg 24
Yep.
hours a
That's
day.
one of my favorite tattoos. I think that's a great tattoo.
It was. I was impressed.
It always surprises me actually when I see Sam stuff in Halloween stores, because I think no one has seen this movie because it doesn't get mentioned all that often, but apparently enough people know it.
I have a little Funko figure of him, not the pop
Oh,
figure.
really?
Like, remember those little action figure ones they have? I have that
Yeah.
somewhere here.
I threw a party today for over 100 people at the place that I work at, and I had the Sam mask, and only one person knew it was from Trick or Treat, which I just felt like throwing them all out and giving them no treats.
No treats for you.
It's a shame. It's such a good one. I'm guilty too because I don't recommend this movie to a lot of people. Now that I sit and think about it, it's not one that pops to the forefront of my mind when someone says, "Give me horror movies to watch." But I need to.
We need to
do
get
that.
on the stick there.
Yeah.
Well, luckily we're doing a whole episode about it, so.
That's right. We gave it a whole 15 minutes.
And our legions of fans who share our link and with other people so much, this will be out to millions of people by tomorrow morning.
That's right. That's all 5 of you watching right now.
That's right.
But seriously, if you're listening, I want you to drop a review on iTunes, and you'll get a copy of The Devil's Fingers.
Is this movie available free anywhere? I have a copy, so I didn't look.
I could not find it for free, and if I can't find it for free without bootlegging it, you can't find it free because I'm a cheap bastard and I look all over the place.
I think it used to be on Netflix, but yeah, I have it on Blu-ray now, so I don't know.
This feels like a good one for Shudder to pick up, actually.
Yeah.
This might be one of those ones I need to pick up on Blu-ray because this feels like an annual.
Absolutely.
It just so perfectly captures the feeling of Halloween for me. It's got the humor, it's got the sexy girls, it's got the great kills and the funny but horrific storylines, and it's just everything I love about the holiday.
When I lived up in Mass, a friend of mine had a great Halloween party every year, and I worked at this company, and everybody from work would come, and this one girl dressed like Little Red Riding Hood at his party, and she was hot, and she stopped freaking traffic that night. And nice. I'm just like, the power of a Little Red Riding Hood costume on the right girl is the best, and this movie is my proof in court of that.
Awesome. I think we're on agreement a little bit on this one.
Yes. Nice for a change.
I'm totally in the mood for an orange lollipop now.
Lollipop. I think you're totally in the mood for one of them girls.
Yeah. All right. So next week, we're hoping to do The Haunting of Hill House. Now, I've already watched it. I don't know if you guys have.
I finished it.
Are we good? Okay. So
I haven't started. It's up to me. Look, if I don't finish it, I will be on half the episode. And then I'm yelling because I don't want you to guys kill it for me.
I think once you start watching it, you're going to get through it because it's.
I hope so.
I've heard good things about that Overlord movie coming out too, but I don't know when it is. Have you seen the trailers for that?
No.
I have. I just.
The trailer is not good, but I've heard the movie is good. So,
okay.
I don't know. Might want to wait. I don't know. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, exactly. We got time.
All right. So listen, everybody, have a great, happy Halloween, and beware of hot girls who could be werewolves.
Check for razor blades in your chocolate bars.
Be nice to people.
Don't go to your preacher. I almost said preacher's house, principal's house, or your preacher.
So I don't know what I'm doing for Halloween tomorrow, but I stopped at the supermarket tonight to buy some candy in case I'm home. And I ended up shopping for other stuff. Go up and I pay, and then I look over and I see the shelf with the Halloween candy and realize I forgot to frickin' buy the Halloween candy.
Nice.
So I'm like, oh wait, can I? And then I was that guy who grabbed like 5 bags, ran back, and delayed everybody else in line to do a second purchase.
Nice job.
Now what'll end up happening is I won't be home tomorrow night, and I'll now have 5 bags of candy that I'll end up just bringing and giving away to people at work instead of kids.
Well, we prepared. We have enough Halloween treats to give out to 750 kids, and we hope we make it through the night.
Dang. You get
I
that
had
many kids
no
through it?
kids last year, and I've had other years where I've had like 700 kids.
We had
You
almost
never know.
700 things last year, and we had to close the doors early, and we were still getting kids ringing the bell. So we're upping it to 750 this year. Let's see how it
Jeez.
goes. It's crazy, but luckily it's like multiple families all gathering in one house, so we're all contributing.
Hmm.
So hopefully,
I'll be giving
And
out
lots-
candy too.
lots
It'll
of
be
beer.
nice.
Excellent. All right. Well, happy Halloween, everybody, and we'll see you next week for some more horror goodness.
Bye.
Happy Halloween.